Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you being here towards the end of the day, and I think hopefully you'll go away and think it's been worthwhile listening to this talk about Azumah Resources. We're listed on the ASX. We have one focus, which is our project in the northwest of Ghana, and it's a very important week for us because we've recently inked what we term a very transformative partnership with a private equity group called Iberia, and this is the first time that we've really been had an opportunity to talk about that and what it means for Azumah and its shareholders. So Azumah represents a very interesting value proposition. It's got a market capitalisation of just about $15 million at the moment, which isn't very high when you see what it has. It's got 2.1 million ounces of resources, which represents about a $4 enterprise value per resource ounce. It's very undemanding. It's got about a third of that is converted into reserves in a study that we did a couple of years ago. Well over 2 grams. Some of that material is 2.5, 3.5 grams. So that's only $16 per enterprise value per reserve ounce. Forgetting that, we've actually got 2,400 square kilometres of contiguous Birimian terrain in Ghana, and our Birimian rocks are where they find all the big deposits on the West African Shield, and that alone is a very enviable position. There's very few juniors or even majors have got anything like that land position. We've spent about $40 million literally on just drilling, and that's not including assays or any other work that we've done drilling that, and done about 10,000 holes. So in addition to those resources and reserves, we've got numerous targets ranging from early stage right up to ready to drill, and that's something we're going to be looking at and testing very shortly through our new partnership with this private equity group called Iberia, which I'll tell you a bit more about in a minute. And when it does come to get to the stage to develop a mine there, everything's in place. There's very good infrastructure, lots of government support, including the government has recently put in a power line right to what will be the mine site. The deal we've done with Iberia, which is a private equity group newly formed, funded out of America by a group that's got $1 billion under management, they can earn over the next 2 years up to 47.5% interest in the project by spending about 17 million Australian dollars. So that deal alone values the company a lot more than its current market capitalisation is. So the objective of that partnership now is really to improve the project metrics through increasing the resources, increasing the reserves. That will flow through the bottom line. We're looking at rejigging the project, perhaps reconfiguring it to reduce capital costs. We might even have 2 plants instead of what was envisaged as 1 plant. And we'll also look at how we can improve our operating costs, which aren't particularly high anyway, and reduce our cut-offs and automatically increase resources and reserves. You can see from that graph we've got a fantastic track record in increasing resources, and because we've got a good land package of very prospective ground, if you spend the dollars, you will increase those resources. So our next target is to take those resources from the current over 2 million up to 3-4 million ounces, and the red bars are the reserves, and we expect those to automatically increase with those as well. The company is very solid. It's got a market cap, as I said, about 15. It's got cash. We're not actually going to be using that cash now because Iberia are going to be free carrying us through to a development decision. We've got a great team of people in Ghana, and most of the directors of the company have all lived and worked and been involved in African projects. So that's the structure. Iberia will be funding the project through an investment in our Ghanaian subsidiary, Azumah Resources Ghana. So there's actually no involvement in the listed company itself, and they can earn that 47.5%. So Azumah still has majority control of its project and also retains the chairmanship of its Ghanaian company. What's important, apart from the funds that come from Iberia, is the people. Azumah, I'm basically the only full-time employee at Azumah, so now I've joined by what I call the A-team. These people have all come out of Fortescue Metals, the group. They're all used to building and operating plants, running very big operations. So I've got this instant team now of executives to join us and our Ghanaian team to take this project forward, and that's a really important part of this transaction. And they'll be starting to drill in the next couple of weeks, and we hope from that will be evolving a very intensive reporting of news flow, exploration results, conversion, discoveries, hopefully, resource and reserve increases, and project milestones being achieved. The company, as I said, has got a very low enterprise value per ounce, so we think now is the turning point. This is the future. This is going to see an unlocking of the value that's in the company already, and then an adding of value to that. So we're hoping to get that this will mark the beginning of that market re-rating up to the levels where we think we should be, which are actually multiples of where it is today. There's gold everywhere on this project, and I think that was one of the main attractions for Iberia coming into it. We know that they looked at probably 100 transactions, and this is the one that they've chosen to invest in. And I think Dr. John Horonsky is a very well-known geologist in Australia. He says it all there and says it's very few opportunities to invest in projects like this. This I mean, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but the pink areas are all the anomalism. We've done a lot of work on a lot of areas, but there's a lot of areas where we haven't done any work at all. So lots of opportunity for discoveries and resources increases. Another area on the eastern part of our tenure, all those yellow boxes are work that Azumah did earlier in the year. They all started out as just geochemical anomalies. We drilled them. We've got we intersected primary mineralisation and all of those. That's all got to be followed up. That's really low-hanging fruit. That's going to see resource upgrades, new discoveries. There's absolutely no doubt about that. When we look at the cross-sections through our key deposits, there's Kunchi, Betkong and Julie. You can see some of the intersections that we've had in the past. If we were delivering those into the market today, what would our share price will be? They're spectacular intersections. We expect more of those to come as we step out, do some step-out drilling, and also go a bit deeper with those, underneath those ore bodies. And talking about deeper, I think this is one of my favourite slides. It just shows you that we've really only just scratched the surface in Ghana. The blue arrows are the depths that a number of the other deposits in Ghana go down to. They go down to 500, 600, 700, 800, 1,600 metres. Our deepest holes are about 200 metres. So there's every opportunity to take all of these deposits down to greater depth. This is a cross-section, a longitudinal section through the Kunchi ore body. The dotted line is where the pit was designed to be under the feasibility study we did 2 years ago. You can see there's a lot of ore sitting under that that we can capture by deepening those pits, and there might even be an underground opportunity here as well. Same thing at Julie. Look at that, all that red is really material that's over 3 grams. A lot of opportunity to go underground. When it does come to development, as I said, everything's in place for that to take place. And one of the important things in a place like Africa is we don't have to move any villages when we do want to start mining. There's basically nobody living on any of these sites. You can't mine anywhere in the world unless you've got local support. It doesn't matter what the central government's going to give you in terms of licensing. You've got to have local support. We've got that. We've worked very hard for that. And these people are saying to us, when are you going to start mining? There's no barriers to entry at all in that regard. The new government of Ghana is a breath of fresh air. Their objective now really is to make Ghana, to restore its mojo, to make it the preferred destination for exploration and mining, not just in West Africa, but the whole of Africa. And our engagement with the new government in the last few months has been nothing but an absolute pleasure. They approved the deal that we did with Iberia in 3 weeks, whereas previous government would have taken several months. So just drawing all that together, I think it's a bit rushed, I know, but I think you'll appreciate that Azumah is a very, very compelling investment at the current market capitalisation. There's a lot going to be happening. The Iberia transaction more than justifies that valuation, and there's going to be a lot of very interesting news flow for the people who want to get on board into the register. And I'd say you should do that very soon because things are going to change very quickly. Thank you very much.